market. Let's
Great.
asterisk.
All right. You are live on YouTube. Go ahead.
All right. So let's see. I'm gonna share my screen. So what's up, everyone? I'm just gonna introduce myself first. My name is Mike Law. I'm part of the ALC on the finance committee. Joined the office in, gosh, when was my daughter born? 2015. No, 2016. So I've been in the business for 5 years. Licensed for 5 years, been in production for about 3.5 years. I came from a finance background, worked a corporate job for 10 years, was doing pretty well in that, and I was always in belief of like that no ceiling life, right? No floor, no ceiling. Like what you put in is what you get out. I wasn't feeling that in my corporate job, and I knew I could do a better job selling and buying homes for my clients than my realtor did at the time. So here we are, 5 years later, and Metro has been my only home, and that says a lot because I did interview every Keller Williams office in San Diego, as well as several other big name brokerages, and ultimately it was like the vibe from Robert, Ashley, the team lead, the ALC, that just made it a family environment, and that's why I chose Metro and stayed here to grow my business. So, Law Realty team right over there. It's me and my wife. My wife is in the background. She does many of the marketing, the CRM, keeping our database nurtured along our sphere, and I'm out there prospecting and working on new leads. Okay. So kind of let's go around. I see a few of us. If you guys want to just introduce yourself briefly and where you guys are in your career, and that way I could get a better understanding of how to cater our session today to make it useful and valuable of your time. So why don't we start with Bernardo?
Hi, good morning. I'm Bernardo. My pronouns are he and him. I'm from the South Bay of San Diego. I have a background in community development and disaster response. I became a licensee in early December.
Okay.
I also interviewed almost every KW in the area.
Fantastic. Madison, how about yourself?
Hi, good morning. My name is Madison, and I became licensed in November and signed on with Keller Williams also in November. And so just new, and then I am coaching with Alicia.
Sweet. Alicia's awesome. You're in good hands there. And how about yourself, Aaron?
I moved here from Chicago about a year and a half ago, almost now 2 years going to be. I was working in the marketing field, so basically training the 42 Best Buy associates for different product. And then on the side, I was just start doing flipping the houses, buying and flipping houses with no experience up and down. And then I decided to move to San Diego. I have a son in Los Angeles, just be close to him. And, got my license September and, joined the team and joined the Keller Williams with Coach Clarissa.
Nice. Clarissa's my coach. You're in good hands there.
Really?
Yep. And Melissa, how about yourself?
Hi, good morning, everyone. I have an events and catering event planning background locally. I'm a San Diego native been doing the events business, my own business, for about 23 years. I've been licensed for about 3.5 years. I've actually been with 2 other brokers. The last one I didn't hear from for 2 years. But I also wasn't active. I have had a one sell, one transaction, and that was great experience. I've done quite a few open houses and things, and then my events business got busy. And I had some other life things coming on that I had to jump away from the real estate and actually take care of my business. And as you can imagine, there's not really any business this last year. So thought it was a great time to actually get into doing real estate because it's kind of what I love to do and want to do as my future. So that's why I'm here.
Sweet.
And it is a great office, and I'm with Coach Carl.
Nice. And you guys are all in great hands, honestly. So, and again, whether you're coaches or if you can't get a hold of your coaches anytime, just feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you guys out as well. Cool. So
Thanks, Mike.
today I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We're going to talk about finding and showing homes. So, show of hands, have you guys already working with, are any of you guys already working with buyers or have worked with buyers in the past? No, not yet.
I'm talking to someone who knows a property that they want. They just don't know if they'll move forward with getting the loan for it.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's a land. It's bare land.
Oh, okay. Yeah, financing is going to be a bit different for bare land.
Exactly.
Yep. So today we're going to go over, again, let me share my screen. I didn't do that yet. Host disabled participant screen sharing. Mr. Bob. It's Robert there.
You might
Mr.
be
Robert.
doing something else.
He might be doing something else, and he did not make me a host.
Oh.
Let's see. I'm just going to type it out here. Robert, can you please assign me as a host to share my screen? All right. So we'll just talk about it and kind of get through it. And then I want to put it out in your guys' court too to see what you guys want to take out of it. Being completely new to the business, I know Melissa's been in business for a little while, but what you want to get out of this session, right? Whether it is going through finding homes, how to show homes, how to coach your clients along, right? Because I consider myself as like a business partner for them, right? They're in the driver's seat, they're the pilot. I'm the co-pilot, giving them coordinates and giving them direction on how to achieve their goals, okay? And then we'll go through that, some scripts, and then if you guys are not too familiar or too comfortable using the MLS to set up a search, and if you think that's valuable, we could, do that as well. Do you think that would be helpful? Or you guys are pretty proficient with the MLS?
I am not at all acclimated.
Me
Okay.
too. If like you show us like how we can get an MLS and like write the offer, would be awesome.
Okay, perfect. So we'll do that once Robert gives me access. Actually, let me give him a call because this will be a lot easier if you guys could see my screen. So I apologize. Let's see.
No worries. Take your time.
What's the matter?
Robert, can you give me access as the host so I can share the screen?
Oh, shit, sorry.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So,
Publicly heard for the world.
huh?
The whole world heard that.
Yeah. Every now and then, like we'll also hop on like these Zoom calls with our little pods and our groups to do lead generation together. Whether it's cold calling or calling FSBOs or expireds, and the language could get even worse on there. It'll be 1 second, okay, guys? Okay, you guys can see my screen okay? Cool. All right, so today we're gonna go over, I'm gonna skip this portion. I trust you guys are doing your daily 10-4s. Say yes, please tell me yes. Thumbs up.
I am not.
You're not.
Not to the degree of doing 10 a day.
Yeah.
But whomever I talk to, I'm open with about what I'm focusing on right now.
Okay. Aaron, I see you unmuting
Doing-
yourself.
I'm doing adding like my contact on social media mostly now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and
Good.
that's writing them like an email. I try to keep up like writing like short message for each person, like, hey, how are you? This is me, and if you need anybody or if you have somebody, that's like that.
Huge. No, that's fantastic. Madison, Melissa?
I've been calling a few people in my sphere, but between like the other day, I had like 6+ hours of Zoom trainings and things like that. And I still have to jump in and run my event business, even though there's not a lot, there's still a few things. So I have been making the effort to try to do some of the calls, get a little more active on social media because I too want to get on that platform, and also training to do some of those social media videos and stuff like that. So that's what I've been doing.
Sweet, sweet. Madison?
Yeah, so I'm pretty active on social media. I have let everyone in my sphere know who live in San Diego that I just partnered with Keller Williams, and then I seeked out like vendor referrals. And
Nice.
so I've been building my database that way and just kind of keeping everyone in the loop. I try to meet new people and add them to my database, but right now it is just kind of talking to my sphere, given COVID and everything.
Perfect. Perfect. No, so whether it's a daily 10-4, right? So I think the whole key takeaway on this is really, this is the ideal. In fact, I think if you shoot for 20 contacts a day, that is the real ideal in this market. Okay. At least when I held myself accountable to 20 contacts a day or 100 contacts a week, that's when my business took off. Full transparency. I'd say, again, I got licensed on Halloween. I didn't take my first Bold. I don't know if you guys heard of Keller Williams Bold. It's a training program where we just go straight into lead generation and mindset. And I didn't take that until almost a year in the business, right? So that first year I did maybe 3 or 4 transactions. It wasn't that great. Once I took Bold, it basically doubled my business. And then I take Bold every single year from then on. And every single year nearly doubles my business. And it goes back to accountability and what you guys are willing to sign up for. So if it's 10 contacts a day, just keep yourself accountable to the 10 and just do your 10, feel great about it. If you don't do it, don't get stuck in that rut. Just do the 10 the next day. Okay. You just have to develop a habit. That's all it is. Once you develop a habit, it's really, really easy, right? So if 10's too much, just start with 5. Feel comfortable, right? And build on that. That's the whole thing. Previewing homes as new agents, I think it's huge. Okay. We have Century Keys or Century Cards, so you could go out there and go preview a home, and it will help you become a better agent. Okay. And we'll kind of go into that in the rest of the presentation. So, and the notes, I'm not great at that. My wife is, right? But those notes go a long way. We keep in touch with our clients and send little reminders and gifts and snacks. And that stuff does go a long way to stay top of mind. Okay. Because we get a lot of emails. I'm not great at reading my emails, but when I get something in the mail that's handwritten, I'll read it. And I'll remember who sent it to me, right? Because it's literally right here next to my desk. Like Eric Gilman was one of the last ones that sent me something in the mail, the knife guy. And trust me, anytime I think of knife, I think of Eric. So when you stay in contact with your clients that way, when they think about house, they're going to think about you. Okay. So we'll kind of move on from there. I'm not going to ask you to report out your numbers. Any questions there, guys, before I kind of move on?
No, it's clear to me.
Yep, cool. So getting your head into the game. So right off the bat, as a new agent, more than likely you'll probably be working with buyers. Okay, more likely than not. Even in my business today, again, 5 years licensed now. I'd say my business is 40% sellers, 60% buyers. Okay, and that trend looks like it's going to continue that way with our lack of inventory, for me at least, for my business. Okay, and these are some stats. I don't know if you can see it. I'll kind of zoom in some more so you can see it. On what NAR reports out on home buyers and their process, right? Key takeaway here is everyone's using the internet. Okay, they're using the internet. They're already on Redfin and Zillow, and mainly those two websites, because their interface is nice. I'll give it to them. Their interface is nice. We're going to catch up to that with our websites, but they're already looking there. Okay, so that's where they're starting their search. Okay. 50% of them are using apps. I think it's actually more nowadays, right? Because it's really easy to just pull up to a house, just where I'm at, and just pull up the info. The other takeaway here is, and this is going to be the game changer, I feel like, for you guys, is more than 50% of buyers reported finding the right home as the most difficult step in the home buying process. Okay. So finding it online, and then they have all this information. Think about it. They can see every home, all 2,300 homes in San Diego. Yet it's still difficult to find the right home. Right? 50% would say that's the toughest thing. Go ahead, Bernard.
So when we say they have trouble finding the right home, are we taking into account the financial factors? Are we specifying finding the home that ignites them and that they want to live in?
It's going to be, there's no general answer for that, right? It's all going to come down to the individual. Some people are really, really well off, and they're also, not as picky. They know exactly what they want, or some folks know exactly what they want and they have budget issues. So it's just this is where it comes to discovery and us as buyers agents really diving in. Number one, that buyer consult. Did Maria kind of go into the buyer consult with you guys?
I missed yesterday, and I think that was a session. Anybody else?
She touched on it. She did mostly a lot of discussion on, the whole, everything else actually, but we didn't actually like line by line, like go through the sheets in there. We've kind of touched on that, I think, on a couple of other Ignite sessions and contract training and some other stuff, but she did walk through like the real world process of it.
Okay. So, and you guys are using Command, right? And have you guys seen the buyer guide in Command? No? Okay. So let me share with you a buyer guide. I think that will help you guys a lot. Bear with me 1 second. Okay. So this is one that I just used last night. I had a buyer consultation with Sasha and Andrew. Okay. So when you're having this initial discussion with your clients in this world, when you're meeting your buyers, I really do like Zoom. So whether it's Zoom or Google, is it Google Meetups? Google, I don't know, what the free Google one, right? Set them up to have that initial consultation on Zoom if you can't see them in person. There is something about this face-to-face interaction that really builds the rapport and keeps them engaged, right? So this is the one that you could download off Command, and you could modify and tweak it to your guys' liking. But on here, what I really, really like is it goes right into this. Your needs come first, and this is really focusing on the client and really understand like where they are in their life, where are they looking to go, time frame, and what does that future look like. So if you're a part of Stephen's scripts practice in the morning, it's the 6 questions, right? It's the 6 questions, and it's self-discovery questions. Again, you could go ahead and download this. I could send you guys a copy too after this meeting if that helps, and then you guys can see what I'm using and how it's been modified from the original. Okay. Right here, it goes into your wish list. So there's what I would recommend is having your clients read this. If it's a husband and wife, to have the discussion of what is it that they're looking for in a home. They could, if you're on a Zoom call with them, this could last 2 hours easily just to talk about this. So it's best for them to have that discussion first, and then we circle in and we ask high level questions on what that goal looks like. Okay. So in the buyer's guide.
Can I clarify?
Yeah, go ahead.
You're saying basically send these questions, invite them to talk about it amongst themselves, and to come to you when they're ready as a unified front.
Yeah, so this is my process. Okay. I'll set the appointment. Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, right? Are you available at 1 or 3 o'clock tomorrow? 3 o'clock tomorrow. Fantastic. I'll go ahead and send you a Zoom invitation for you and your wife. Okay. To prepare for that Zoom call and make good use of your time, I'm going to go ahead and send you the material beforehand. There's some great questions in there for you guys to kind of discuss about before we meet. And that way, when we get together, we'll have a really good constructive conversation, and we'll keep it short and sweet to 30 minutes. How's that sound?
I see
Cool.
that.
Yeah. So again, the purpose of this is really for them to answer, because there's questions on here like, what type of home are you looking for? What size are you looking for? Architecture, is pool okay? Like there's questions that they may not have thought about, right? And it's when we give them a call in that Zoom call, that buyer consult, to really understand like, what is it that we're looking for, right? Because we could show them every single home on the market, but is that really what they want? Right? Some people say, yeah, show me and all, show them all to me, but really that's not what they want. They just want to be able to see all their options and know that they're going to make the right decision. That's what they really want, is to make sure they're making the right decision. Okay. So
And the premeditation, would you say that's your tactic? Is that exclusive to couples, or would you do that basically for any client?
for any client.
Okay.
Yeah, for any client. Here's the thing. If you go through this buyer consult verbatim, it's going to feel like an interrogation. Right? It's going to feel like an interrogation. It's no fun to go line by line by line. It's more fun to have a casual conversation with a sense of purpose. Okay? So that's what this helps with. Okay. And then we could talk about, okay, you had a chance to review it. Is there anything on there in particular I should know about that's going to be really important in making the decision and finding the right home, right? Because Mr. Buyer, you know, my job is to bring you the right homes and not just any home. Am I right? So, and then we'll use the time to also ask them, more than likely they may be first-time home buyers, to discuss like page 11, the home buying process. You know, just set aside some time to outline what the next 2 weeks to 8 weeks would look like for them. Okay. Any questions there?
Sorry, we do this after they sign like a paperwork with us that we are their agent, or this is going to be before that?
This is going to be before that. This is in preparation to get them to have earn their trust, earn their business, for them to sign that buyer broker agreement.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, this is them dedicating their time to speak with you. And essentially it's an interview, right? You're interviewing for the position. And in turn, you know, like this took me a year or two to figure out, but I'm interviewing them to see if they're a right client for me. Okay. What's nice about this is a great segue into getting them to the next step, which is getting pre-approval. Okay, explaining to them what the market's like today. They're going to reach out to you and they're like, maybe they'll say, I saw this home, that's why I reached out to you. I get that a lot. I saw this home and that's why I reached out to you. I was like, okay, fantastic. Where are you in your buying process, right? Are we just starting? Is there a time frame you set aside? Let me better understand your situation. And then explain to them, like in this market, many homes won't allow visitors or tours unless they sign the pre-approval, send the PED and send a copy of a pre-approval. Okay, so it just kind of sets a stage for them so they're aware of what's coming up. Anything else you want to? I'm going to bounce back to our presentation unless you guys have any questions about the buyer consult guide.
Thanks for showing us that. It's a good tip.
It's you know, and it's all about just having something ready to go too. When your business starts growing and you're taking on these, like I'm literally in buyer meetings and seller meetings 2-3 times a day. So 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and basically 5 o'clock, I'm on these calls. So the key is with this time that you have the time to do it now, to have this set up, right? And that way you could easily just launch it out. The only thing I update really is there's a neighborhood page. So I'll update the neighborhood snapshots. Kelly does that, or Command does that. And then the cover page. That's it. Everything else is standard.
I got 2 questions.
Yeah.
Is there a version of this for when you're working with a buyer who's not looking for an owner-occupied property or something that they would invest in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if it is non-owner occupied, so they're an investor, right?
Yeah.
If they're an investor, I would just send it. I still send it to them.
Yeah.
Right. Just so they have something. If you want to update this so you have one more geared towards an investor, a seasoned buyer, please do. I think that's fantastic. It's better than what this is.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't get too caught up on trying to have something for everything.
Okay.
Right.
I guess I ask because I know that there's a demographic out there that is not that are not seasoned buyers, but they're secure enough so that they can make the investment in property, even though they might not be living in that property because their careers are taking them to other places, or they might get married. So I'm thinking, like, for one of my friends, for example, who wants to buy a 2-bedroom property virtually anywhere in San Diego, just so that she can have something she's putting money into.
Yeah.
I think some of those questions, though they'd be related, they'd get your gears turning. I know they're not as applicable.
Yeah. So for the most part, these questions are going to be about what property type they're looking at, right? The escrow process, the buying process, and all that's still the same. You know, for my investor clients, and we'll get into it in our presentation, is I'll go add extra information for them on the MLS sheets. Okay, so we'll get into that. Remind me if I kind of breeze through it on the MLS sheets.
Sure.
Cool.
And the PowerPoint we're looking at, is this from the Power Session Manual?
Yeah, so this obviously is from Command. This is your buyer guide. And then this is, the Power Session Manual, number 8.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and, you guys can read the other stats, but I think the key takeaways here are that everyone's using the internet, right? And half the time, the most difficult part in the buying process is finding the right home. Okay. So I'm just gonna skip through all this, finding the right home, finding homes. So do you guys know how to find homes to share with your clients?
No.
MLS,
Okay, that's one answer.
I
What
mean,
else?
Zillow.
You're laughing, but I'm gonna get to that. That's actually a good answer. Anything else?
yeah, I'd echo that. I mean, instinctually, I'd be like, well, even though I'm a real estate agent, let's go on Zillow because that's the interface is so friendly and, uh, yeah, I think I would imagine there'd be a part of them that's like, but what's on Zillow the whole time?
Yeah. So yes, Redfin and Zillow are great websites. Okay.
I use HomeSnap and getting familiar with our KW app.
Yes. There you go. Getting them on the KW app is going to be huge. Okay. Because right now, if they go on Zillow, I'm just kind of put out the risk for you guys. If they go on Zillow or Redfin, they could easily just select show. I want to tour this property and click on whatever agents assigned on that landing page. Okay. So if it's like a colder lead, and not someone that super hot warm that's going to be connected with you, you have the buyer broker agreement signed and all that good stuff, there is that risk of having them use those websites frequently. Okay. By getting them onto the Keller Williams app, right, assigned, then you're in control. You're the face that pops up next to every single property that they're looking at. Okay. And that does play a role on the colder leads. If you have these buyer consults, or when you have these buyer consults, address it. If you see something on the internet, if you see something on Redfin or Zillow, give me a call, text me a screenshot, and I'll get whatever information you need, including scheduling a showing. Remind them that.
Can you leave your phone and email for us here in the?
What's that?
Can you leave your email and phone number on the
Yeah.
chat box? Thank you.
Sorry about that. And I'll add that towards the end there before we sign off. Okay. So, okay. So going on, we talked about Zillow. Zillow is a great place for us as agents to look at too, because yes, MLS is one. Okay. Zillow is two, and I only use Zillow for one thing really. And you guys should do it the same, is looking for the FSBOs. Okay. The for sale by owners. In this limited inventory, especially in this limited inventory market, that for sale by owner might be the only home available in that neighborhood, right? So check it frequently. I check it daily, and for multiple reasons. Okay. So on top of that, MLS, looking for FSBOs in your neighborhood for your clients on Zillow. Other things I want to call out that you should do in this very limited inventory market is look through the expireds. Okay. Again, our priority to our buyers is to provide them as many options as possible, especially in this limited inventory market. Okay. So giving them that extra step of expireds, calling around for expireds and where the neighborhood they're looking at is a fantastic way of giving them that additional value of working with you, because 95% of agents out there are not going to do it. I guarantee you they're not going to do it. They're not going to call the FSBOs, and they're not going to call the expireds. Okay. And your client, your buyer is going to be so appreciative of that. And that could be the deciding factor of them choosing you or someone else. Okay. Number 3, go ahead.
Being so new to the field, it's hard for me to fathom what you just said. Like it seems instinctual, regardless of my training so far at KW, to think call the FSBO and expired anyway.
Yeah.
And so I guess I'm a little talking to, I think I mentioned this earlier, I know someone who's interested in buying a specific property of empty land. I know that they were keeping their eyes on it, and that listing recently expired, so it's not on the market anymore. And in our conversation, I was a little thrown off by how surprised they were when I said, we can still call them. Odds are they'll probably sell it, they just gave up.
Yep.
So like, a part of me is experiencing doubt on whether or not I really understand it, or if that's how it
Mhm.
actually is.
Don't doubt yourself. You're doing the right thing. You're doing what a professional needs to be doing. Okay. Again, most agents are just not at that level. Okay. They don't think, or they're not working as hard as you are. Okay. So just do it. There'll be benefits down the road too. I mean, I've picked up listings that way as well, where it might not be the right fit for my buyer at the time, but you've happened to have that communication created and built rapport with that seller, that potential seller, and then 3 months down the road, you know, they're our client. Okay.
Thanks.
The other two things I want to touch on finding inventory for your clients that they'll be really excited about is pocket listings and caravans. Do you guys know what those are?
I know what a caravan is.
Okay, perfect. Everyone else knows what caravans are? Bernardo, want to explain what a caravan is? Just so we're all on the same page.
If I'm not mistaken, it's when a group of agents, regardless of whether they're in the same brokerage or not, travel across areas to get to know those markets.
That's right. So it's a fantastic way to meet your fellow brokers, right, in the community. We have, I don't know how many we have, but we definitely have more than 8 or 10 in San Diego of different caravans. So I weekly go to downtown in a Metro Caravan. It's all on Zoom now. It's super easy. So it's between typically 8:30 and 9 o'clock, and it lasts an hour long. And it's a great way to find out what other brokers have coming up, right? So wouldn't it be nice if you called your buyer like, hey, I know you're looking for this Craftsman home in North Park. And guess what? There's one coming up next week that no one knows about yet. Do you think that would excite them?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Are pocket listings not legal?
Pocket listings are not legal from my understanding, and Robert want to chime in. When we have a listing in our office that's not live on the MLS and we share it across our office, that's considered a pocket listing. It's within our brokerage, right? And we can share it amongst each other. We can't actively go market it outside, right? Until we put it on the MLS some way as a coming soon, or, you know, that's listed on there. It doesn't have to be syndicated as active, but it has to be at least on the MLS. But check with Robert. I don't want to get you guys in jail.
They won't go to jail. But so really quickly, NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, implemented a new rule last year, and it's called the Clear Cooperation Policy. That in the past we used to have these things called pocket listings, and they call it pocket because it's in your pocket. It's not really listed. Like Mike said, you can kind of market it. If you have somebody that says, hey, I want to sell, but I don't really want to list my home, you can tell agents in our office about that. But you can't take a listing that you actually have a listing agreement and not put it on the MLS unless you follow some certain guidelines. The concept is they felt with such low inventory or limited inventory that a lot of agents were intentionally not marketing to other agents that were members of NAR, CAR, and SDAR. So they're trying to prohibit people from double-ending deals and not really putting everything on the market. That's it.
Thank you, Robert.
Thanks, Robert.
See, Bob's keeping us out of jail. All right, so finding homes. So we talked about, any questions before we move on about how you could give your clients all these different options of finding inventory? No. And keep keep in mind, like when you're having these discussions with your buyers and your buyer consult, I mean, these are value adds. This is what's really going to make you different than Joe Schmo agent. Okay. Like anyone could set them up on an MLS drip and send them properties in a zip code. Anyone could do that. They don't need that. They have Redfin to do that for them. But Redfin is not out there in the broker community. Redfin is not previewing properties. Redfin is not going to caravans. They're not calling FSBOs and expireds. So that's where you really shine, right? Because you're the pro. All right. So finding homes, let's just kind of breeze through this. If you want me to stop anywhere, please just let me know. So 90% of buyers use the internet. We'll set them up on the instance. Basically, this is setting them up on the MLS. And would it be helpful if I show you guys how to set something up on the MLS real quick? Yeah, okay, you guys are excited about that, so let's do it. So let me just log in real quick. And we could create one for a new buyer I signed yesterday. So this is where we log into Paragon. And if you want me to slow down, just shout or have any questions. I know when we're sharing it on Zoom, sometimes it's just a little laggy and slow. Just like this. So right when you log in, it's just a heads up that you have these MLS searches that are expiring. So for Ashley here, we got her into escrow just last week. So they're going to expire. I'm not going to renew that. All right. So how do you do an MLS search? So let's go. Let's say you have a new buyer. Okay. So we're going to add a client under contacts. And I really hope this speeds up, or else you guys are going to fall asleep on me here. Okay. So client name is Ivan. Okay. I'm going to do a quick save. You can add their email address on here. So when there's an update in the MLS, it can automatically send it to them. Okay. So this is where you enter their client information. You go to buyer activity and add a search. Okay. We'll add a new search. So these are all the different classes within the MLS you can filter by. Residential, 2 to 4 units, some commercial things, rentals. So we'll do residential. All right. So this is kind of like the basic criteria. Okay. You can modify these with custom, or if you have a already a saved search, you can load it up. But this is where you'll enter in all the different criteria based on that conversation you had with them, right? Because we're not going to just send them everything. That's the key, right? So let's use Ivan, for instance. You know, Ivan's looking for Mira Mesa and anything nearby Mira Mesa. I'm sorry. The contacts are like messing with me. Mira Mesa, and he's also willing to look in UTC. Residential style is it a home? Is it a condo? Is it a townhome? Okay. And if you click on this little icon, it will show you what your options are. If you don't know, he's looking for any type of townhome condo situation. So we're going to do townhome, twin home, row homes, and all attached. Okay. And then let's see. He has a budget of $500,000. He needs it to be at least 1 bedroom. So I'd say most agents would stop there. Okay. 23 listings would be sent to him. I don't know if that's a lot or too little. I mean, that's going to be based on how your conversation goes with your client. But most agents, I feel like in the past that I've dealt with, only do that. There's additional filters you could use on here. That's really like, this is where I say it's okay to use filters. Don't overdo it. Okay. And what I mean by that is most agents, when they enter their listing, everyone enters it differently. Some is very detailed, some isn't. So if you put too many filters on here, there's a potential that you'll like eliminate something that might actually work. Okay, so be careful of that.
Mike, I have a question.
Yeah.
Stephen, during one of the scripts class, did talk about the how many to send to your potential buyer, and he was saying, and I think there was agreement in the room of like 5 to 10, so they don't get overloaded.
That's right.
Because if you sent 23, that's a lot of places to go over. He also said that, you could talk more to your buyer to hone in a little more than sending them 23 condos or whatever that you may have to. And when COVID's done, like go with him to go look. That's a lot of places.
That's right. So 23 is a lot. I'm glad you chimed in there. And this is where it helps to start filtering it down based on that conversation with your client, right? So I know with Ivan, he said, this is how the conversation goes. Like, I'm not filtering it. This is not a made up story. Conversation yesterday said he wanted he wanted a garage, right? Well, again, you could just say, okay, I'll do a garage. But the real question is, what are you going to do with the garage? You take it another level deeper. I had a 3 o'clock call where they said they wanted a 4-bedroom house. What are you going to do with 4 bedrooms? You guys only have 1 kid. What are you going to do? Are there going to be changes in your living situation coming forward? Ask these questions because it really shows that you care, and we do care about our clients, making sure that this is the right home for them, that they could be there for, at least the next 5, 6, 7 years, right? Really dive in and understand their situation. So in this case, Ivan, I asked him, what are you going to do with that garage? Do you like to work with wood? Are you handyman? Are you a mechanic? He's like, no, I just wanted my car to be parked somewhere safe. Okay, so in my mind, you don't need a private garage for storage or anything. You just want to make sure you park your car somewhere safe and secure. So fantastic. So on here in parking garage, I'm like, 1. We just need 1 spot. If it's in a parking garage, it's going to be, we don't care if it's underground. We don't care if it's gated. We don't care if you have your own. We just want any of those, right? So we did 1, that limited down to 16 homes now.
Can I practice something here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Would it be fair to say perhaps the garage is not a strong requirement, but rather say that you find a house that's in a eminently safer neighborhood?
Yeah.
Neighborhood,
It
or
could.
if it's maybe neither of those, but there's, say, maybe a designated alleyway for cars, if it has any kind of particular space for it, maybe there's no need for the garage at all, so long as it's not on the street in public site.
Yeah, and those are questions you definitely have to ask them, right? And everyone's gonna differ. For him, it was an absolute requirement. It was an absolute requirement to have a dedicated spot, secure, at least gated. He didn't want it to be a public site. Okay, so have those discussions and understand, like, what's it important to them, how they're going to use it. Obviously, if you're working with condo buyers, in-unit washer and dryer is like most of the time they want it. So here's where you could also pick it, right? Laundry location. We want closet full size stacked. So you could do any of these. You could have it come back like, if it's in a community laundry, I don't want it in my search. Must have, must not haves, and must have 1 or more. Okay. So in this case, I'm just yeah.
Mike, has the searches cleared up a little bit better after the CRMLS, SDMLS data field conversions?
I couldn't really tell a difference, honestly.
Okay.
my honest feedback is most agents don't fill out all the forms. Most listing agents don't fill out the fields. So you are taking a risk by putting in more than one or two different criteria, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
The parking situation, I feel like almost everyone fills that out. So you're pretty good there. The laundry is pretty solid. Where it starts getting dicey is everything else. Location of the unit, what the exterior, what type of roof, heating. Like sometimes I don't even know these listing agents actually even stepped into the house, right? To even really give a good description of it. So in this case, Ivan wants a full closet laundry. So we're going to do save, and now we've limited it down to 10. Okay.
Can I ask
So
you-
go ahead.
So you can look up available properties by the kind of roof that they have.
Yeah.
How often do you have a client or a buyer who's able to specify, like, I want to live in this kind of house with this material and this heating system?
Yeah. I come across it all the time, right? But that's because I'm working with like 12 A buyers at any given time, right? So everyone's a little bit different. I have clients who specifically want concrete tile roofs. They just don't want to deal with shingles, right? The roof shingles only last anywhere between 10 to 12 years at most. The concrete ones will last 35 years. So yeah, it does come up. It does come up. Style of home does come up. Do they want a modern home? Do they want a Spanish home? Do they want a craftsman home? It does come up. And this is where I have that honest discussion with them. In this market today, is that really going to be a deal breaker for you? Right? Are you willing to wait a year for that perfect home, that Spanish home with concrete tile roof on it, that's completely remodeled? Are you willing to wait? What your current situation is? Because it may not be the most important thing to them. It might not be one of the top 3. Okay. But again, really ask those questions, because that's how you're going to build that relationship and trust. Okay. So that's it for there. One other thing I want to call out for you guys. I wish someone taught me this when I was a New York agent. Age restriction. Okay. Especially in North Park, there is a condo complex on Alabama that everyone's like hits you up on, like, oh my God, I saw a 2-bedroom there for like 200,000, or a 1-bedroom for 200,000 in North Park. Yeah, but it's a retirement home. So if they're not looking in 55 and older community, please remove it. Okay, not equal to. So here in University City, we've had 10, right? We've said nothing over 55, no 55 and older community, and narrowed it down to 5. Our magic number. So hit search, and those are your 5. Okay, those are your 5 homes with at least a one-car garage parking spot, in-unit washer and dryer, under 500K. So what do we do now, guys? Now you have a list. What do you do next? I look to you guys.
You're sending to the potential buyer, mail it to them.
That's one option. Yeah. Anything else?
You could save your search, and then, it's been a little while since I've done this. Let's see. Is there something in reports on printing, like a certain printout that you could actually give to your, give to your client of each of these, or just the general area? Then actually first we could go in and look at each one of these and then do a report and send that to them.
There you go.
Of each of the single ones. So like I said, it's been a couple of years, but yeah.
There you go. I would look at them first. based on the photos and the description, and because one of these might be like a cash only deal and you have an FHA buyer, right? So go through it first. You could filter it by cash only or not, but I would go through it first. So that's how you're gonna qualify a home. And what's nice nowadays is like the bigger homes, for the most part, will have Matterports. Do you guys know what those are? No? I don't know if any of these are gonna have it. So Matterport is the 3D walkthroughs. So instead of actually going to the property, you could do the 3D Matterport walkthrough to like kind of check it out first. Another thing I like to do about qualifying homes is Google Map, Street View. Okay, again, these are things that when you have that buyer that signed on to you, that you have promised this expectation and level of service, to go that one step further, right? Take a look at Google Maps Street View. See what's in the neighborhood. Is there a hoarder house right next to it, right? Just these are the extra things that could save you guys time and headaches. Because the last thing you want to do is, pull up these 5 homes and then set up the showings. You have to contact 5 listing agents, set up 5 showings to show up that the street is not even on a great street that they want to be on, right?
I guess maybe a really crude example would be the house that's singularly, it's very nice, but it's next to 2 very dilapidated or blighted homes.
Mm-hmm. Or what if that house is right next to a gas station, right? Or it's wedged in between 2 apartment buildings, and your client wants a ton of natural light, right? So,
or it's next to a freeway.
Exactly. Photos are very deceiving, guys, right? Like, as a listing agent, I don't post every photo up there. I filter it and make sure that those photos are going to put the home in its best light possible. So am I going to put a photo of it being next to the freeway for my seller? Nope. Not at all.
I have a question, Mike. Yeah. So with that said, if you do Street View, and there is the area, there might be a couple of not so great looking houses and some not so great looking yards, wouldn't you show that to your client anyway and just say, hey, yes, this house meets your criteria, but just putting it out there before we go look at it, make sure if you still want to look at, this is what the neighborhood looks like.
Exactly. That's exactly what I do.
Okay.
So you nailed it, right? Address it up front so it's not a surprise to them, because then they're going to take 2 hours out of their Saturday to go look at a home with you. And then they had to say, like, yes, I wanted to see that despite I knew of the conditions around it, right? One of the worst experiences I had when I was a buyer was the agent just showed me anything, right? And took me to places where I didn't even want to be. I'm like, dude, did you even listen to me? Right? Like, we're not even on the same page here, wavelength. So needless to say, after that one outing with them, they brought me in for a buyer consult and everything. This was a Coldwell Banker agent. She's pretty big now. But yeah, she brought me in, fantastic buyer consultation, went over the neighborhoods we want, showed us 3 homes. All 3 I hated, nothing close to the neighborhood I wanted to be in, what we're looking for. And needless to say, I never called her back. I never picked up her call again.
Did you ever ask her, like, what logic she was operating on? Like how there was such a distance between what you talked about and what ended up happening?
Yeah, I mean, some people would ask that, Unfortunately, me and my wife are very high D personality. So if we don't get what we want, we're just going to move on to the next person. So in that situation, I mean, we spent, again, 2 hours of our day to go look at homes. We didn't get anything close to what we want to look at. And she even said, like, I couldn't get you into X, Y, and Z homes. And we just moved on.
So even as someone who's a real estate agent, or maybe because you have that that education and training, you're able to kind of be like, bad date, swipe.
Well, that was the last part, kind of broke up there.
Because of the background and the skill set you have, I could imagine why that might play a factor into you being like, this was a bad date, I'm swiping onto the next one.
Onto the next agent, you mean?
Rather than trying to ascertain like what was wrong. Was there something about what I said in that conversation that might have misled her, or?
So again, this is me as a buyer at the time before I was a real estate agent,
Mm-hmm.
the agent that I was working with, right? It came down to her not listening and her not previewing the properties and not taking the time to really, qualify the home. Like, that's one of the worst things, guys, is like showing them properties that don't fit their criteria. Like,
you know what I did, Mike? That say the property that like doesn't show. It happened to me because I before I became agent, I was just buying from the agents. So when they were giving me address, I was going, during the day, I was looking around the place that said, like, say right now is not available for showing stuff. So I was going look at the around the day, how it looked like, neighborhood, is there any activity, and then coming back looking at during the evening or night how it looked like, because it was totally different. Like during the day was awesome and amazing, and then you were going that after evening, see people are hanging out there drinking beer. It just for me was myself. I said for me it was interesting to know that which kind of environment. I mean, I'm not going to go and live there, but I'm going to buy it, flip it, and sell it. But I want to put the family there. So if the family comes to live there, they have to know which kind of environment I got to present to them, as a seller. So that was like that for myself, that I was definitely doing my own investigation during the day and night to see how it looked like, because it's totally, absolutely different how his neighborhood is.
Yeah, it's huge to qualify the properties, before you take your clients out there. So
one more question, Mike. On this, maybe we're getting too deep, but if we go to each home, can't we pull like the whole neighborhood stats and the school and everything from the MLS, just by like going through each, like going to the number, looking at the house, and then is there a way directly from that, or do we have to go into something else? Like if you click into one of the homes or one of the condo areas, can we see is there a way to click through to get the like what schools are nearby, how's the schools rated, what type of business, that kind of businesses, or even like, is there a neighborhood crime listed, or
that's
can't see it?
Oh, that's my phone. That's
okay.
When you go back to your
HomeSnap,
your Kelly app and your website and your market snapshots. The MLS doesn't do a good job about that. Yeah, and the schools listed on there, most people don't list the type of which schools it filters up to.
Okay.
So that's where it goes back to the technology that Keller Williams has invested in to build upon, because that's not out there right now. You would have to physically go to all these different sources, greatschools.org, Crime Map, all that stuff to piece it together, right? So our app is putting that all in one place. Okay. Before I turn back to the presentation, are you guys using this right here, this link to Glide for your showings? No?
I'm not.
This is going to be a requirement for all your showings, guys. Okay. So instead of going to DocuSign or not Zip Forms to create a PED, you guys know what a PED are, right?
Broker Bob touched on it earlier, I think.
Property Entry Advisory Declaration. So it's basically you sign it to certify that you are taking on the risk, you are aware of the risk of looking at home, that you do not display signs or symptoms of COVID, right? So this is an easy way of doing it. Please don't do it any other way. This is the easiest way. So what I do is, let's say these 5 homes my client likes, then I just go through here, click on this link, and guess what? It loads everything up. It's so easy. Like when COVID first hit, we didn't have this, and it was a nightmare to go through zip forms and create PEDs for every property. Like, I just didn't want to do it. But this is really easy. So all you do is just follow the steps, and it'll generate the PED form. Okay, this is taking too long. But
Have to do for each property separately, or one PED for all of them?
Yes, that's a great question. You could do it all in one. I don't, and I'll tell you why. I don't do that. I send them separately because, number one, I just want to protect my client's confidentiality on what properties we're going to be looking at and comparing against. Number two is, I don't want, again, this comes back to my resource and being highly efficient, is I don't want to look up every single agent and what their email address is, every listing agent, when this does it for me already, right? So when you click on the form, it will load up all your clients. So these are all the clients I'm working with right now. So let's say like Emily wanted to go tour this home. I'd click on that. It would generate it, send it out for signature. I don't do a thing. It's fantastic. And then when both myself and my buyer has signed a document, it will automatically send it to the listing agent. Okay. So great. So we talked about finding the right homes. Now let's talk about like preparing to go to the showing. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So we take a break. Like 5
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. Bob, is that okay if we take a 5-minute break? Garland.
You can do whatever you want.
Okay, yeah, let's take a 5-minute break. I'm gonna take out my contacts, by the way, so I'll be back with glasses.
Mike, I'm gonna make you official host because I'm leaving my house at 11:30.
Okay.
So when you're done with the meeting, if you will end the meeting for all,
Okay.
rather than just leaving, that would be great.
You got it. Great, guys. So let's circle back at 11:13. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Oh. The contact is sitting on top of my eye, so that's out. Ridiculous. Cool. We'll kind of get started so we can end this a little early. I do have a get going for a 1 o'clock appointment, so we'll try to end right at noon today. Later. Yeah, I'll come back out there. Cool. What else on here on the MLS I want to share with you guys? So next thing is about scheduling, right? So we found the right homes, right? We're going to qualify them, and now we got prepared to show them. And if this is pretty elementary, just let me know. We could just breeze right through and say, next, Mike, give me the good stuff, okay? So just go through the confidential remarks and showing instructions. This is where it's going to tell you what you can and cannot do. Okay, so if you already sent the Pete over, go through this. Like this home shown by appointment only. Call or text to set appointment. So if they specifically say that, please don't use showing time. Okay, like this is one of the pet peeves for listing agents is we have specific instructions because that's how we have structured our business, right? And when you use something out of the norm, we might not get it, right? Like if I have an email address set up just to receive showing requests and you submit something through showing time and it goes through my spam and you show up at the door at the time that you requested and I don't let you in, it's not a good look for anyone. Okay, so read this and follow the instructions. In this market, I would say like this home, guys, if it's been on the market for 60 days, more than likely it's going to be there tomorrow. Okay. And then if it was something like, where's our days on market? This house. Okay. 1.4 million, 3,300 square foot, turnkey, Carlsbad, 0 days on market. Guess what? If you have a action ready buyer, this is like one of those homes that you better call today. And this is a big takeaway. You better call today to set up an appointment because there is a good chance they won't be there to request a showing by tomorrow.
Earlier, when we saw coincidentally 5 properties listed, and you asked what should we do next, I instinctually understood the qualifying thing, but I was also, because I'm in the place of learning about what market statistics to be looking at, I was like, I kind of feel the impulse to triage these in terms of which of these might be most hot. You know, just to your point, if one of them was on the market for 60 days, even if it's maybe the dream home, specifying that as I email or call my client.
That's right.
There's this other property that's not exactly, or is it fits the description of what you want? Maybe not as much as this other property, but it just came out yesterday, and
yeah, so it's definitely important to, hop in this market. At least it's very important to be quick.
Yeah.
Okay, it's very important. There is a property in Scripps Ranch that my buyer was outbid on, but it came on like a Thursday. Okay, showings was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only. So 3 days, entire day from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. at night. Showings the entire time. Guess what? By the end of Thursday, every single one of those spots was completely booked. So if you didn't call on Thursday and you called on Friday, you had no chance of viewing the property. 0. That home ended up getting 32 offers and going nearly 200,000 over ask. So it's important to act really quickly in this market. Okay. So let's kind of go back to, are you guys good here? Okay. And you guys know how to use showing time. If this says, please use showing time. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs down. Okay, thumbs down. Perfect. So some agents use showing time. I use showing time, right? So if this says please book via showing time, it doesn't say it's so asinine, but where it says schedule a showing right here. Do you guys see that? Where my cursor is at? That's showing time. So if you click on here, you know, and select schedule a single showing, this will pull up the calendar for that home and your calendar as well. So like this home on Parkside, they have no availability at this moment, at least on showing time, if they were to use showing time until 11, well, till not right now, right? And this shows this is my 12 o'clock appointment or my 1 o'clock appointment today. This in green, it says confirmed. So let's say we want to book this house for our client, then you would just select time, how long you want to be there. So this is 2 o'clock, it's starting, it's a showing. We want to be there for, these options sometimes are limited, but let's say we want to be there for half an hour, and you can put your buyer's name and just request the appointment. Okay. And then the key here is just wait for the email or text back that it's confirmed. Any questions there? Good? Sweet. So I'm just going to take a quick look on here. Do you guys have any questions on this MLS sheet you want me to talk about?
No, thank you.
No? Okay. So let's kind of talk about preparing preparing yourself to go show these homes, right? So we've already talked about qualifying them, picking out the best ones, being in touch with your clients, right? So before I put together the list of homes to show, I always call them or text them or email, whatever they prefer, and ask them, hey, did you get my email? Right? Are any of those homes really like piquing your interest? Does any one of them scream? Is there one of them that you're just absolutely in love with and that you would die if we don't see it? Right? So ask them that, and then ask them also, did you see anything else from maybe like on the internet that you also want to see? That's really important to you. Okay. Get their input. All right. And then if they only pick one or two, then I always come back with okay, fantastic. You know, here's another, is it okay if we add one more that I think maybe it would be a great fit for you? Fantastic. So that way, you know, you're making good use of their time as well. Okay. So we've already talked about qualifying. So let's move on there. Preparing to show the homes. So again, we already talked about showing instructions, listing agent, all that good stuff. If you can talk to the listing agent before you get out there, do it. Okay. Our job is not to show homes. Our job is not to just write offers. Okay. What's our job ultimately? Is to get the offer accepted. Right?
I started looking through my notes. I was like, I heard it this week.
Yeah. If you don't take that approach, guys, have you heard of buyer fatigue?
I've heard of it. I'm not entirely familiar with what it is, but
yeah, that's another easy way of losing a client. They could love you, you could love them, but if you exhaust them in this process, then they're going to start wondering, wow, maybe I should look at other options. Okay. So buyer fatigue is a real thing. And really qualifying the homes and showing what's right and making good use of their time is going to go a long ways. Even if they say, I want to see everything. Remember what I said in the very beginning? Even if they say they want to see everything, it's not true. They just want to make sure like they chose the best home that's available. Okay. So another tip on here when we're preparing to show homes, now you got a list of the homes you want to show. Let's say there's 3 of them. Okay. I always kind of set up that 3. That's just my thing. I say we're going to look at your most favorite home first, typically. Okay, the one we're most excited about. Then we'll set up 2 more right behind it, and of those 3, you know, we should be able to find you the right home today. Okay, and you'll know if this is if we're on the right track. Okay, I wouldn't schedule more than 5 a day per client. Now let me share with you why. Once you've seen 3, typically that 4th home, or once you've seen 3 and you're on the 4th home, that first home gets really cloudy. You won't remember it.
It's like a menu of the restaurant. When you go to the restaurant, that they have a menu with hundreds of stuff, you get just confused. Myself, I just say, hey, just give me the best one.
Yep. That's right. That's right. It's like comparing In-N-Out to Jack in the Box or something like that, right? They have like everything, where In-N-Out only has, you can only get one thing. You want a burger? How many patties do you want on it? Okay, so keep it limited. They'll get tired. They will get tired if they see like 5 homes. Okay, if they want to see more, again, isolate the top homes and attack those first. Okay, and none of those work out and you have to see the next, schedule it for another time. Okay, if they're in town for only a day, have a lunch break. Do something to break up the day. Okay. So what else is on here? Are you guys pretty good with sense of direction? Yeah.
It's a strong suit of mine.
I know it's a silly question, guys, but use Google Maps, please, when you're scheduling the homes. Okay. Put all the properties you like or your client likes into Google Maps, get the direction, rearrange them in a way where you just hit them in one straight line in a route. Don't play this ping pong game of going back and forth all over town, okay? It'll save you so much time. And then if you do miss something, like sometimes you show up to the property and it just doesn't work out. Like the lockbox doesn't work. Something could happen. Just skip it and come back to it. Don't be late for all the other ones just because of that one home. Okay? Just skip it, go to the other ones and circle back. Fantastic. All right. Let's see. Check with your buyer, preview the home we talked about. Here's another thing. So on the MLS, I'm going to share with you what I do, okay? Makes it so much easier. I know we love to do everything by phone. HomeSnap is a fantastic app. But go ahead and print this sheet out, okay? And put it in the order that you're going to go look at the homes, okay? On top of that, I would educate myself on each of these neighborhoods that we're going to go look at. If the neighbor next door just sold, please know that what it sold for, okay? Because put yourself in the buyer's shoes. What questions would they ask you? Just anticipate that. If you're working with an investor, like I have many clients who are looking for investment properties, right? Whether you're a flipper like Aaron, knowing what a ARV is or a remodeled home could be, make note of it on here. Make note of how much rent could be in this neighborhood. And that way you're prepared to answer those questions on the fly. Okay. Doesn't take too much work. I mean, it's literally everything's here in the MLS. Oh yeah. Here's another tip. I don't know if you can, oh, it's white. You can't see it, but go to the office and you know what? I'm going to hang on one second so you guys could see. Start video. I don't want a virtual background. None. Okay. I'm a big golfer, by the way. I got nothing but golf clubs behind me. Get these folders. Do you know where to get them? In our office, front desk. I think they're like $2. These bifold folders. Okay. I always put together. I actually print the buyer guide, even if we did it online already. The consultation, I print it, put a copy in here on this side. All the properties we're looking at in order on this side. Add it to them. That way they could go back and remember each home. Okay. And have them take notes. You won't print them this copy. This is the agent copy on the MLS, what you see on your screen. What you'll do is print them the client copy. Okay. So what you'll do is click on reports. And these are all the different ways of printing this MLS page. You see that okay? Client preferred 2, client view, whatever you choose, just pick one of these. Okay. I typically do client 2. Oh, we're logged out. Sorry. Yeah, I do client 2. And what it does, and I'll only do 2 pages of it, the cover page, and then a few photos of it on the back side. Okay. Sweet. So any questions there? No? Okay. Fantastic. So now we're at the house, right? Ring the doorbell, make sure no one's home. Last thing you want to do is surprise anyone. If there's a line of people, just wait your turn. When you're in the house, is there anything on showing the home? Oh, here we go. Nice. So when you're in the house, they've given you a nice checklist. You could use it if you want. Our like Amanda, Amanda Silber and Ed and Wes, Movement Mortgage. They have some great material that like a buyer's guide, just like this, but in a little pocket version, which is nice to hand your client. So they could take notes on each home if they didn't have the MLS printout. But this is pretty cool to have. And now we're touring the home. Here's a good thing. Again, if you're seeing more than a few homes, try to like pick out something that's unique about the home to refer it by, because they're not going to know the address. Some really like engineer type will, right? But for the most part, my clients won't remember. They'll be like, oh, it's the house with a ton of cats. It's the cat house, right? Or the house that smells like barbecue or whatever. So there's something that they'll pop, and that's what we're going to label the house. What's up, Bernard?
You could tell I'm going to say something because I turned my mic off.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just being cognizant that the way you probably nickname each property might have a little bit of an effect on how they view that property. Like if it's one of their dream ones, but you call it the stinky house because of the cat, they might have that stigma later down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. It can. One of obviously the dream house is probably the most common nickname.
Yeah.
Like you see 3, and that's the dream house. So having descriptive names is really good. So instead of using the address.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. While you're touring the home, everyone's going to have their different style, and you're going to develop your own style. Okay. No right or wrong. How I do it is I'll walk into the home with them. Okay. And again, imagine if you're going to some stranger's house, how would you feel? Would you feel comfortable just kind of snooping around and opening up doors and right? I don't know. But for what I do is I'll walk my clients through the house first. Okay. And I before we even walk through the door, I turn to them and I look at them like, hey Ivan, we're going to go check out this home during this COVID environment. If you want to touch if you want to open anything or, test something out, let me know. Okay. And I'll open it for you. That way we can make sure you're in safe hands. Okay. just assure them that we're taking every precaution possible to limit their exposure and keep them healthy. Okay. Second piece is a funny thing. I always say to them, is like, hey, usually when you walk into a house within the first 10 seconds, you'll know this is the right home for you. Okay. And if you walk right in and you hate it, it's okay. It's totally okay. It's not my house. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you just want to walk in and walk back out. So that's totally fine. And I think that's a great way of setting it up so they know that it's okay to say no. Okay? It's okay to say no. You spent a lot of time looking for properties for them. They might feel like they're going to hurt your feelings or, not value your opinion or something, but it allows them to say, it gives them the okay to say, you know what, this is not the right one. We don't have to stay here. Okay. So we'll walk through the home. I'll take them through each area just to make sure let them know it's safe. And then if there's someone else with them, let's say their kids or a spouse or a parent, I would let them know, okay, fantastic. I'll let you guys explore. Go check it out. If you have any questions, I'll be right here. So they have a moment to themselves to talk. Okay. Another great thing I'm going to harp on is know the product. And Aaron, you're probably like one of the pros on this because you flip homes, but know the product. It's important that you know what you're selling. Okay. And if you don't know, it's okay. Right. If you don't know, it's okay. There's learning opportunities, but understand construction, at least to some level, right? Understand appliances and equipment and materials and flooring and paint and asbestos and all that good stuff.
It cost me a lot the first time because I didn't know what is mechanic lane, and the guy came and said, "Oh, I broke my leg." He lied to me, and then it cost me 10 grand just get the attorney to get off of myself, the allegation he made. And I didn't know anything about asbestos, I think, until I bought the house from 1910.
Yeah.
Cost me 5 grand to get the asbestos pipes and old boiler out. So
yeah. So it goes a long way, and it shows that you're the consummate professional, that you know what you're selling, you know what you're doing. And again, if you feel uncomfortable about it, heck, I felt uncomfortable on day one, right? I couldn't tell the difference between quartz or marble tops. I couldn't tell if a home was subject to asbestos or polybutylene piping. I didn't know. So you educate yourself, online, freaking YouTube it. Go talk to contractors, I love, Madison, that you're talking to vendors. That's a fantastic way to learn as well, So educate yourself. It's going to go a very long way, because expect your client to ask you, oh, wow, how much do you think it's going to be to put in new floors?
Right. Candidly, I think that's what a lot of us think before we enter the field, that it's central to our job to know about that kind of stuff. And I guess it is in a way, but that's not at all in the real estate license exam, and it's a very small fraction of our overall training.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, you say look online. I know there's a lot of resources out there, but what exactly should I look up? What sources should I go to as someone who's all in all a dummy? Like, all I have is a home improvement manual from Home Depot.
Hey, that's more than me. This is what I would do. Start small. Start with the questions you think that they're going to ask you, right? When I show a home nowadays, more than likely, we're working with budget constraints, right? So if they're working with a $600,000 budget and they want everything, turnkey, new floors, new countertops, all that good stuff, educate yourself. Like, what does flooring look like? How much does it cost? What are my options? You don't have to be a pro. I'm not saying you need to know how to install it, right? Or service it, but at least know what they are.
Mm-hmm.
And be able to at least point your client in the right direction. Okay, so that.
And that's perhaps a little more obvious because it's what we see, but what you mentioned about asbestos, for example, I mean, that's something I know it's kind of shorthand now in for the public, but like entering a house, how do we learn what those perhaps invisible or hidden things are that would affect its value or its
Yeah. So how I learned, is my very first, and I still do it today, is I really dive deep into my buyer's inspection reports. Okay. I have a fantastic inspection company that I work with, and it's so detailed. It's beyond detailed, right? It's like a perfect condition home could still have an 80-page report, the type of inspector. And I took the time to really understand what was written in there. Okay. You're going to learn a lot that way. Leverage those tools. Home inspectors, that's a great start. That's how I started picking up on age of home. If a house is built this year, what are some of the things that's common of homes built this year that I should look out for? Okay. And then again, we're not the pro, right? We're not the pro, but at least we know what we're walking into and common things to look out for in a home of this type. Does that make sense? And then it's important to then have those relationships like Madison's building where you could defer those questions too, right? Like, oh my gosh, like how much would it cost to remove the popcorn ceilings? This home's built in 1958. There's most likely there's asbestos up there. I'm not going to be able to answer that, but you know what? That's a great question. I have someone I could refer out to and help you answer that. Okay. You don't want to be the one that's promising something and that's not true.
Normally, like people that they do inspection, they know lots of people that contractors, they do that as well.
Yep. Absolutely. And we do have some great people like marketing partners in our office that are highly knowledgeable about older homes as well, that you can leverage as well. Okay. Cool. So that's kind of what I do. I kind of walk them through and tell them to just take a look at what's important, right? What are your big goals? What are the most important things in your home? And isolating those, right? If it's finding a home workspace, they got kids and they're working from home and they need some type of separation, that's the most important thing. Let's focus on that, right? And all the little things you could help them get past, like colors of the wall, flooring type, windows, all these things you could change, right? But when you start changing location, you can't do that. You can't change the location. You can't change the age of the home. You can't change the neighborhood. You can't. To kind of focus on the big things, and they get stuck on the little things, get a deeper understanding of, is that the only reason holding you back from saying yes to this house? Isolate the rejection. And then if we could get past that, right? If we could put in new floors, would you make an offer on this home? Absolutely. Oh, fantastic. Let's go ahead and do that. Right. So it's giving them the ability to and reminding them that they have the option of writing an offer. Okay. Let them talk, let them come to their own conclusions. What else is on here that's important? Here we go. Pointing out the benefits of a home, not the features. Right? So remember what I had in the very beginning, we talked about like my questions, my line of questioning when they're looking for 4 bedrooms or garage. Remember that? 4 bedrooms and a garage is a feature. It's a feature of a home. It's not the benefit. The 4 bedroom here is the benefit is fantastic. Look, this is a room we have space, perfect. It's a 3 bedroom, perfect. We have room for your son. We have room for the in-laws to visit, and we have a dedicated workspace too in the den. Can you imagine that? Like having your in-laws over and still have space to work? That's fantastic. And watch the little kid, oh, win-win, right? Be excited. Be excited for them that this is it, right? And so let's kind of move on. How the buyers rank the houses, that's kind of a given. I think that's naturally going to happen. There's body language and there's signs that they're interested in a home. What are some of those signs you think that would tell you like, oh my gosh, like this is the house for them?
They want to stay longer than the appointed time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely one. Anything else, guys?
They start talking quietly to themselves, like, and pointing stuff out with smiles on their face.
Yeah, absolutely. When they start picking out the details of a home, more than likely there's some interest there. Madison, you were gonna say something?
Oh, I just said that when they say they like it. But I think when they start to inquire more about it, asking questions, they really want to know more about the home. I think it shows that they're interested in it.
Yeah. Anything else you guys could think of? I mean, it's on the screen now, but for me, one of the big signs is if a home is staged, right, and they sit down and they start making themselves comfortable in the house, it's like a done deal. Here's some other sitting down in the house is actually number 7 on here. I'd put that as almost number 1. Asking for a second showing, like after they're done there and they're like, can we go see it again? They're not going to say, can I see all 3 homes again? They're going to just say, can I see that one dream house again? Okay. So these are all signs of like, you know, you nailed it. You guys absolutely nailed it. You found the right one on the first showing and they're excited about it. And now, you know, you go in for the close basically, right? Asking them like, oh, fantastic. Would you like to write an offer? Do you guys have any concerns about asking or, you know, how that goes about? Any questions there?
Writing the offer. That's my question, how to do that.
Yeah. Do we have a night for that? I think there is. Writing a winning offer. There has to be.
I think so. I'll check right now.
Yeah, there has to be.
There is close the deal, negotiate the deal, close the deal.
Yeah, there has to be.
All
Your coaches are fantastic coaches. Again, if you ever want to pick my brain on how we win out for our buyers, give me a call. You know, give me a call, a text, email. But I always give them, when we will leave the property, the first thing I ask them, so what do you guys think?
Yeah.
Right when I'm closing the door, what do you guys think? You know, and they'll say no, yes. It's that we want their initial reaction right then and there. Because if there's any interest at all, it's going to happen at that moment. And then if there is interest, talk about next steps. Immediately set the expectations for the next steps. Can't stress that more than ever.
And probably clarifying, or really emphasizing because of the time sensitivity of getting the offer accepted, not because you want to get your commission.
That's right. Bernardo nailed it. The urgency is huge in this market. Okay. And not only that, even if, let's say, they didn't like any of the homes, right? If they didn't like any of the 3 that you showed today, still set the expectations for the next steps before you guys part ways. It's really important to keep that going, whether it's good or bad. Okay. Like let's play it out. Like the very first, ideally they love the home, right? So we'll go ahead. Bernard, you'll be the client, right?
All right.
Okay. So Bernard, what do you think?
Wait, sorry. What's the scenario? I love the home.
Scenario is you love the home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. I have questions about it. And can we come back?
Yeah, absolutely. So you like it a lot. Would you say this is like the best one of the 3 that we're going to see today? Probably, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And this one has, been on the market for not that long. So let me ask you, do you think that there's any chance like this is it though?
I think it might be. I mean,
Maybe.
you know, I've talked a lot. I've talked a lot about it with my wife, and knowing her, I think she'd love it too. But we'll have to sit on it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you just want to make the best decision possible, right? It's a big decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have we walked through the process of making an offer yet?
We've talked a little bit about
We
it.
talked a little bit about it, and so let's do this. I know this is important to you and your wife. Sounds like your wife really likes it, and we just want to make sure that we're comfortable moving forward and making an offer. So what we'll do is, after this, we're going to get back, and in an hour from now, we'll hop on a call, if that's fair with you, okay? And then we're going to go over what it means to write an offer and how it's just an offer. It's literally just an offer, and you're not obligated to anything. But at least you won't have that opportunity. You won't lose the opportunity of this home. Fair enough?
And if let's say we make the offer and they accept it and we change our minds, what's going to happen?
Yeah, absolutely. So exactly. So I'm going to cut the role play, right? I'm going to cut the role play right now. So this is where understanding the contracts and how offers are written is huge, right? And how to structure it to best protect your client's interest, your buyer's interest. Because you could structure an offer where your clients can't back out, right? You could also structure an offer where they could back out all the way up to the close of escrow for a ton of different reasons. Okay. So it's a matter of educating your client and ensuring them that it's a big, important decision, but it's not life and death. Yeah. Okay. Like there's ways that we as professionals protect their interests if this turns out to not be the one. Right. So it's just ensuring them the confidence that, they don't know the contract as well as you do or the process. Right. So we're going to educate them on California real estate laws, how the contracts were in, and the contingencies that are put in place that protects them. Okay. So that's what we would do there. If they want to see more homes later, great. But I'm not going to deny them or not offer them the opportunity to at least write on the most important or the best home for them. Okay. I'm just going to wrap this up. Becoming protective. We've seen this where they're like, let's just take the keys with us from the lockbox so no one else could see the home.
How often are they joking when they say that?
Oh God, I hear that at least once a month. At least once a month, people are telling me that. Yeah, let's take the keys with us, and no one else could look at the home. Huh. And again, you guys are going to go to Ignite about how to write winning offers. So that's going to be huge. Here's some objection handlers that you guys can just read on your own. Right? We love it, but we haven't seen enough properties. We really want some unique feature of the home. We don't like the carpet paint color or landscaping. This is easy. This is really easy to change. Bringing our buyers to a decision. Remember, you're not a tour guide with a lockbox key. That's huge. If they want that, they could contact Redfin. The decision-making process, helping them ensure like they're ranking their properties, understanding which one's most important to them, giving them a chance to write the offer. If they're the type that's visual, this helps listing out the pros and cons. Like they're having a hard time making a decision. This is a good tool. And that's the most important part though, guys. Ask them to make an offer. Any questions? So we have like 5-10 minutes left. If there's any questions about how to show homes, how to find property, or anything about working with buyers, shoot away. We got a little bit of time.
Always I ask all of the coaches, I said, if you got any property you want me to advertise it by social media, let me know.
Okay, of course, absolutely. If you have a commercial buyer, I have a $2 million commercial property, and then I got a few more in the pipeline for listings that you can more than.
I'll be so happy to put on my social media for you.
Yeah. Let me close this sharing the screen so I can get to the chat box.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you find that your buyers in San Diego have like a good understanding of what they can afford, or that it's like usually like a reality check, just because of how expensive homes are here?
Yeah. The reality check is what they can afford is not really a common issue. I think most people who live in San Diego, who are buying in San Diego, have seen the real estate market and where it's at. Okay. I think the shock for them at this moment is how competitive it is and how quick things move. Yeah. So setting up that expectation, like if someone needs to move, real urgency, they need to move, really like let them know like, hey, we are not in a normal market, right? We have to act with urgency. Yeah, it's ideal we see 3 homes, but in some situations, we just have to go see that one home today. Okay. And that we have to be ready to write an offer like the moment we leave the property. Okay.
And then after you show them like 3 homes, so that's kind of your MO. If they don't like any of them, when do you wait a week, or like when something comes on the market again? What's your kind of
what my plan of action is?
Yeah.
So I show them 3 homes. They don't like any of the 3. Okay. And then if they don't like any of the 3, number 1 is I ask them why. Like, what of these 3, of the 3, what was the favorite one? I know you didn't like any of them, but what was your favorite one? Have a base to start that discussion from. What will we need to change on that best one for you to be excited about? Okay. Maybe it's something you can change, maybe it's not, but at least have that dialogue going. And then I wouldn't wait till another property comes up before I'm in touch with them. I set the expectation that, okay, fantastic. This is what we'll do. I'll be in touch with you on Tuesday. Okay. And let's go over our game plan for this week. Even if we don't have a game plan, right? Even if there's no new homes, just check in with them and let them know what you're doing, because you're going to be calling expireds. You're going to be calling FSBOs. You're going to be going to these caravans on their behalf. Okay. Yeah, I forgot my train of thought. I want to answer that. I want to add to it, but I forgot what it was. Yeah, I'm sure it'll come back. Any other questions?
Just send you my digital business card.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Melissa?
No, you actually answered them as we were going. This was a really good class. Thanks a lot.
Cool. Yeah, I had something else to share with you guys. Once it hits me, if you guys want to just text me all your info, and then once it hits me, I'll text you back today.
Okay.
Yeah, it was something good. It was a good takeaway. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I just totally lost it just like a minute ago. Sorry. All right. Well, I'm going to close up shop. Again, just text me your info. And then if you guys ever need anything, just give me a shout. Don't be shy.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great weekend.